You are about to listen to the words of Fethullah Gulen, a distinguished Islamic scholar and thinker. In this podcast, you will hear his essay, Towards the Sovereignty of the Heart.
In our recent history, humanity has drifted from suffering to suffering. We have walked through pits of death, and our search for deliverance has only led us to new calamities. Around the world, established governments have cowed to the greed and ambition of individuals. Today, it is the untouchable elites, big companies, and powerful mafias that control our society. Human virtues are neglected, and people are preoccupied with a standard of living that exalts riches, property, and comfort. Like an arrogant gladiator raising its hands in victory, material wealth stomps out the values of virtue, knowledge, contemplation, and courage on which we once relied. But wealth has no value outside of this moral context. If we pursue it for itself, it becomes the cause of brutality. Yet wisdom and morality, the true core of society, have been despised as fantasy and foolishness. If a society is built around material desires, where people prioritize pleasure and personal gain, thinking of nothing but their own prosperity, then those who are aimless, deceitful, sordid, careless, ignorant, and short-sighted will prosper at the expense of those who are diligent, the industrious, and the well-tempered. To exclude the considerations of morality and virtue from society is to prevent men and women of character and discipline from contributing to the life of the nation. This is the basic distortion that is present in societies around the world. Humanity today enjoys unmatched prosperity. However, we have also become captivated by our own ambitions, fantasies, and addictions to an unprecedented degree. As we gratify our corporeal appetites, we succumb to the frenzy of life. We drink only to become thirstier. We eat only to become more gluttonous. We resort to financial manipulation to acquire more, selling our soul to the devil for pittance. Thus, we drift away from the truth of human virtue. As life is consumed in the pursuit of some transient material value, humanity ends up consuming itself and abandoning its dignity. In this state, there can be no immensity of faith, abundance of wisdom, or displays of love and spiritual delight. How could there be? Modern humanity evaluates life in only terms of comfort and enjoyment, completely neglecting deeper spiritual or meaningful aspects of life. We think only of how to accumulate more, what to buy or sell, and where to find pleasure. And when such ends cannot be lawfully achieved, we appeal to unlawful ones. When society's structures no longer meet our needs, we turn to hidden or unlawful means. Today, humanity continues this dark underground journey, but it is a dead end that we must abandon if we are to find our true path. Otherwise, an individual will drift from one distraction to another, never becoming himself. If freed from one extreme ideology, a person may fall into another, often as confused and unstable as the first. If freed from one extreme ideology, he may simply adopt another that is just as rigid and limiting. He will suffer alienation, lose his identity, and be left to imitate others. In this way, humanity has wasted itself for centuries. We escaped from a political crisis only to fall into a moral one. We surmounted an economic crisis only to find ourselves in the midst of a military one. Moreover, our energies are depleted by our own negative attitudes. Deliverance from these misadventures will require a return to the traditional religious principles of belief, love, morality, metaphysical thinking, and spiritual training. To believe is to know the truth as it is, and to love is to apply this knowledge to life. Those who do not believe can by no means understand the absolute truth, and those who do not love are like lifeless corpses. Belief is the most important source of action. It leads the spirit to engage with the whole of existence. Likewise, love is the most essential aspect of human thought. For this reason, those who would nurture our religious tradition should first turn to the altar of belief and ascend the pulpit of love. Their impact originates in their deep understanding of morality and virtue. Morality is the essence of religion and a significant tenet of the divine message. If it is heroic to be moral and virtuous, then the prophets and their sincere followers are the true heroes. The most apparent characteristic of Islam is morality. Anyone of discernment and wisdom can see that, verse by verse, chapter by chapter, the Quran and the prophetic tradition are suffused with moral teaching. The prophet, who embodied perfect morality, put this truth plainly when he said, "Islam is the beauty of character." As the Muslim community, we are the members of a moral system and the moral children of an epic story. No thought or fantasy could shake our morals, for we dream of attaining eternity through them. And we believe that our spiritual strength, which originates in metaphysical thought, will allow us to realize this dream. Metaphysical thought denotes our effort to comprehend existence as the unity of its observable and unobservable aspects. Without this holistic embrace of both the intellect and the soul, everything crumbles into lifeless fragments. When we neglect metaphysical thought, we lose access to reason. All of history's great civilizations have been rooted in a tradition of metaphysical thought. This is especially true in the Islamic world, where successive civilizations have been established on the metaphysical foundation of the Quran. Metaphysical thought seeks to understand both the observable and unseen aspects of existence. Those who oppose it with only empirical science ignore the deeper, unseen forces that shape the world and foolishly attempt to turn a cascading river against the spring of its origin. We could also understand metaphysics as the capacity of love to perceive all of existence in its entirety. The true lover pursues neither wealth nor fame. He breathes peacefully in the midst of the storms of love that burn in him. They hope to discern the visage of their beloved in the face of annihilation, to perceive their beloved among the scattered ashes of the existence, and to attain the unity of the lover and the beloved, the seeker and the sought one. They are always journeying from the valleys of self-annihilation in God, Fanaphila, towards the heights of self-permanence in God, Bakabillah, to use the Sufi terms. Surely such a goal requires earnest spiritual training. Spiritual training helps us align with the deeper purpose of our existence. It can also be defined as the way by which the spirit escapes the limits of corporeality, turns towards its origin, and fulfills the purpose of its creation. The generations of our time have lost their spiritual dynamic and have become alienated to their essence. Poor, slovenly, and vagrant, they seem to be the victims of their own reasoning. We must guide these generations to focus their thoughts on the right things. And as their devoted servants, we believe that we can. We may face setbacks, but we will persist, strengthening our resolve through devotion and self-reflection. We need only to nurture our will through worship and discipline it through self-criticism. If we fulfill our duty and walk on this way, then God will be there wherever we turn. Our task is to plant these seeds for future generations, trusting that God will bring them to fruition. We believe that through dedicated service, a new culture of peace, security, and love can arise from today's world. We believe humanity will find lasting fulfillment, with future generations valuing love over wealth, fame, status, and greed. Then all will live according to the sovereignty of their hearts.
You have just listened to the words of Fethullah Gulen, brought to life through an AI-generated voice. Known for his teachings on faith, interfaith dialogue, peace, and education, Mr. Gulen also inspired the Hizmet movement, a global initiative that promotes democracy, human rights, equality, and nonviolence. To learn more about Fethullah Gulen and the Hizmet movement, visit fethullahgulen.com.